my privilege. I'm in my third year now, just started my third year as the mayor of the city. And this is a program that we have that we call Listening to Lakewood, that we started in about the middle of 2008. The idea behind the program is that we know that people always have the option to come to city council meetings, but city council meetings are to try to find out what's going on in the city, but city council meetings are business oriented, so they only deal with what's going on with the agenda at that particular time. Sometimes people come to ask questions, but we don't give a general overview of the major issues at a city council meeting. It's a working meeting. So we wanted to do that on a regular basis, and we also wanted to get out of City Hall and come out into the neighborhoods and communicate with people directly. Now, when we do that in a neighborhood that's not in the Gold Coast, we do a lot of door-to-door, and I walk the street, and some of usually one of the police officers will sometimes walk part of the area, and then sometimes somebody from the Public Works Department. It's a little different with the Gold Coast because you can't exactly go door-to-door here. This is the second time that we've been here. We were in this room, and I want to thank the building manager. I don't know if he's still here, but Ralph, if you're still here, thank you. We appreciate it. There you are. This is the second time actually you've hosted us, and so we appreciate it. It also something that the other reason we wanted to come here was that there had kind of been a tendency, an unfortunate tendency probably, that the Gold Coast was seen as kind of separate from the rest of the city. And it didn't always get on our radar screen, I think, city government traditionally as much as it probably should have. And that was something I talked to for a few years. I talked about with your city council representative, Mary Louise Madigan, who is here. So I want to recognize Mary Louise is here. And you can clap for her. You don't feel compelled to do it. You don't have to. But we had talked about this, that we wanted to make sure that we brought City Hall representatives out here on a regular basis, and that we wanted to include the Gold Coast as much as we can in the civic life of the city. So I want to also extend an invitation to any of you, if any of you are interested in participating in local government through being a volunteer or a representative on one of our boards and commissions. I want to invite you to do that because we're probably underrepresented in terms of Gold Coast representatives on our boards and commissions, and so I want to extend that invitation to you. And we also wanted, we're going to get to this in a little bit, our planning director is actually here, but we're trying to include the needs of the Gold Coast in our planning process, so that when we talk about planning for the city long range, we're not just talking about the other 9/10 of the city, but we're also talking about what the future of the Gold Coast is. The format that we'll follow here today is I'm going to give you an overview of the issues that we've been dealing with the last couple of years, some things that we have planned for the coming year. There are some people here who work for the city besides myself who can help answer questions, because then we'll go to question and answer. And I'll do my best to personally answer a question. If I don't know the answer, I may defer to some of the people that work for me. We have Bill Corrigan, who's here from our engineering department, and he deals with a lot of the infrastructure issues in the city. Bob Panashevitz is here from our building department, and he's one of the assistant directors in our building department, so on any kind of building code issues. Mike Fritch is our neighborhood police officer. He's the gentleman who's in the uniform back there. I couldn't figure out which one was the police officer. And who else do we have from the city? Any other? Oh, I'm sorry. Nate Kelly is here. He's our planning director. We're going to talk about some of the planning things we're doing. We do have a firefighter here, but he's not here in his official capacity.
I'm a citizen tonight.
So maybe I shouldn't recognize.
Can I also say, for the people that don't know, Scott Gilman, the fire marshal, also lives in this building. So if there's ever a question about the fire department, you can either ask Scott or myself. I live in 1503. And if I can't answer your question, I'll certainly try to find out the correct answer for you. And I think most people that know me know that already. But
well, that's a great resource for the people here in the building, and they're two of our They're two of our great members of our fire department. So let's get to the presentation. I'll try to go through it as quick as I can, and if I talk a little quickly, it's because I don't want to take up too much time before we can get to questions. We try to limit it to around an hour. If it goes a little bit over an hour, it's okay. And again, if there's questions we can't answer now, we'll try to get back to you later. Okay, let's. Okay. Can we just fill this time? This is these are pictures of various things in Lakewood. There's a sign at the city of Lakewood.
Usually just push the arrow. I can take 1 minute just to let everybody know that there's also a really good effective block watch. Of course, that's what I'm talking. There's a good effective block watch in our neighborhood, and if you're interested in participating, we want condominium participants as well. It's a lot of people in the homes and the apartments on Lake Avenue and Clifton Avenue. And it's a good set of eyes and ears. We work very closely with Mike Fritsch, and our captain is Cindy Schneider, who lives in one of the homes right on Lake, right down the street from us. And I'm your neighbor. I'm in the Carlisle, just a few doors down, learning from Michelle, our realtor, our resident realtor, all the good and otherwise not so good news about my building as well.
Okay. Actually, we do have Mike Tuttle is also here. He works part-time for the city. Mike coordinates things for the block watch. He also works in a program called CERT, which is Community Emergency Response Team, which has a lot of volunteers in case of a natural disaster, or they also helped out with the H1N1 clinics we had, and they do a lot of that kind of disaster preparedness things. These are just the 30 different zones that we divided the city up into. We tend to come to the Gold Coast in the winter so that I don't have to walk in freezing temperature. Here's the area that we did for this evening. This is just some information we kind of went over, but Mike Fritsch is your neighborhood police officer, and those are his contact numbers. But I'll give you some more information about what that whole program is about if you haven't heard about our community policing initiative that we started in 2008. Keep going. Wrong way. Here we go. Here are some things that we're focusing on when we started back at the beginning in January of 2008. And these are some things that we're working on still. The big problems when we started a couple years ago was first of all was the fiscal situation, where we were facing the biggest fiscal deficit in our city's history, really, since the Great Depression. And in about 1933, I believe it was Mayor Kaufman at the time, actually, because revenues had collapsed so much, actually had to borrow money they had to float a special bond to try to borrow money to try to keep the city's operational budget solvent. And ever since that time, the city was basically solvent, never had really a period of big layoffs or anything of that nature. But we really hit a wall starting really in about 2003, 2004 is when our fiscal situation really became apparent that it was eroding, but it reached a crisis proportion at the beginning of 2008. And we are, I don't want to say we're out of the woods because we're still under tremendous fiscal pressure because of the stagnant economy, but we're a heck of a lot better than we were a couple years ago. We do have at least a budget surplus instead of a projected deficit for the year. Our other goals for this year are to complete the safety initiative and add more police officers. We've increased the overall size of the police department by about 10%, which is unique among communities in Northeast Ohio. The park improvements, we're going to talk about those. Our housing initiative, infrastructure, environmental initiative, our wellness initiative we started, and what we call reforming local government. Okay.